I first met Sam on a pole in Parkley, climbing up a pole. I think I was like 13, 12 or 13, but I know I've literally known some of these girls since I was like 13. Played a lot of different sports growing up. I really liked netball. I was not a bad swimmer. And then I think when it came down to it, it was just always my love for football. I was first brought in under Tom Samani when I was 15. It was around the time where Joey Peters and Cheryl Salisbury were retiring, so it was that camp. I think we were playing against Italy, and it was off the back of the first ever W League season. And yeah, I got called in and didn't really know what to expect. And 13 years, it has been a journey, and to see how far it's come has been amazing.
Can they find an angle? Van Egmond! Emily Van Egmond! Just when Australia was crying out for a hero.
There's been a host of past Matildas who have obviously led the way within that generation to provide for the next generation coming through, and I probably wouldn't have a career without some of them. Katie Gill, for me, for example, I remember she picked me up from school to drive me to Sydney to play in those games back in the day when we didn't have the competition. She would literally come into my school. I would leave class early. She would drive me down. She didn't need to do that, but she did that. I always lean on my family, so they've been my number one support system, and I've been pretty fortunate with that. And you know, whenever I've been abroad, they've come over to support me, whether that's club or on the international stage. So grateful for them, and being born into a family where I had an ex-socceroo as a father / coach, be able to lean on him and have him help me shape who I am today as a player and a person. It was special. I mean, I was playing abroad. I think I was in Germany at the time for most of it, and it was just nice whenever we had the international window. Like, I would come in, and of course, first and foremost, you're there for the team and you're there to do a job, but it was also nice to be able to have, you know, a family member there, and whenever we'd have time off or what have you, we'd be able to grab a coffee, which was really nice, and just catch up on life, and honestly not even really talk about football. It was more so just getting the family support that I needed from, you know, being abroad, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, he's the first to be the hardest on me out of everyone, which fair enough, but I wouldn't have it any other way. When I was younger, I suffered really badly from homesickness. I didn't want to leave. I signed my first professional contract fresh off the 2011 World Cup. I think I was 17, and I went over to a country that was non-speaking English, and I really, really struggled. And after that, I didn't want to go abroad, but ultimately it was, if you want to train and play against the best, that's kind of the sacrifice you have to make, and you have to get used to it. So then fortunately I went to another club after that, and I had the best experience, and that kind of really kick-started for me, learning to be independent on your own at a young age, having to grow up quickly, and all these different things that help shape you, not only as an athlete, but as a person. Never say die. I think a lot of people would probably say it's that real underdog mentality, but I kind of have a little bit of a different perspective on it. I think that's something that this team can always lean on. It's just something that's been embedded within the team long before I was here. I think that's the first thing I noticed when I came into this team, was the mentality and the attitude of the players, and their, ultimately, I guess you can call it whatever you want, but team values, you know. It is such a tight-knit group, and everyone has such a huge amount of respect across the change room. It doesn't really matter who's scoring the goals. It's more about the team and the collective performance, and this team is a very humble team, and by no means does anyone here think they're bigger than the team, which I think is super unique, and it just shows the characters that we have. And yeah, I would just echo the fact that we are playing for each other, and every single time I put this jersey on, the obvious answer is your family, your friends, but it is this team, because, you know, it's been a long journey to get to where we are now. A lot of the girls have put in the hard yards, and that's including the past Matildas for sure, and to be able to sit here and to reap the benefits of that, I'm extremely grateful for that. And for me as a player, it's always, you know, doing the best you can, setting an example, and obviously leaving the game in a much better place than when I first arrived. And I truly believe our team here has demonstrated that and is definitely going to provide that. I think the game has come so far. I mean, you see now the tactical understanding, the technical execution of some of these players is second to none, and it's only going to get better from here. This World Cup has proven that. I think in the past there's been such a big gap, and now that gap's starting to close significantly, and that's what you want ultimately. You want to be playing against the best as often as possible, and it's just really pleasing as a player to see that gap's being bridged, not only by the bigger nations, but also nations that probably people weren't expecting that of. It's competitive. In the past, I think there would have been games that would have probably been called blowouts, whereas now I think it's becoming much more of a closer battle, and I think that's ultimately what you want, and that's the goal that you want to be able to get to, and I definitely believe that women's football is on the right path to that.